Hey, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday,
Welcome.
Masturbation Monday.
Masturbation Monday. Welcome to our newest, latest
episode. We're on episode 10.
Guest.
We have our special guest, but I'm Jacklyn.
Saundra. Elle.
And
Dyke Michaels.
Dyke Michaels. And you are with Red Flag Comedy.
Red Flag Comedy.
Red Flag Comedy.
And then
Human versus.
What's your name?
Who's this guy?
I forgot. I'm so high right now. I no idea.
What?
Oh yeah, Grungy. That's my name, Grungy.
Grungy.
Hi, Grungy. You look pretty
And the
grungy.
star of the Grungy Green Show.
Hi, Grungy.
Hi, Grungy.
Hi, Dyke.
So happy to have you here.
I was told I was going to be on with the puppet. I thought you were just
Joking?
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Never joke about puppets.
No.
Never joke about the puppets.
Welcome. Thank you for joining. Okay, so like every episode, all of our viewers know, both of our guests have randomly selected 3 questions. The rule is that you can opt out of one question, but the other 2 you have to answer, or you can answer them all. So we're going to take turns.
Okay.
So if you would like to open your first question,
All right,
and
I just-
Elle's going to help Grungy with his.
Now,
We'll take turns.
Am I asking this question to Grungy, or is this for me to answer?
It's for you to
Okay.
answer.
It's
Just
for
read
you
out.
to answer.
What is the worst TV series ever made?
Aw.
That's a good question.
God,
That
that's
is a good
easy.
question.
Oh my God. You
Grungy?
got to be capable.
I didn't know you watched TV.
No, he's the star of it.
That's right. I get the star
Sorry.
treatment here, baby.
The worst. You know what? I would say this is the worst, maybe / best. Would be Flavor of Love.
Okay.
I literally think that's when we split off the normal timeline and we went into like Bizarro World was after Flavor. I think the normal timeline they never made Flavor of Love,
Interesting.
and
Dude,
that's
you just blew my freaking mind, man.
yeah.
That's a good point.
Seriously. Very good point.
So, would you mind reading Grungy's question?
Yes. Okay, we're gonna shuffle. All right, Grungy. All right, let's help you read here.
Let me read here.
It's if you had to sell your soul for one thing, what would that thing be?
Wow.
Oh,
I would hope you'd say grunge
no.
music, but
she
Nice.
got the joke. I'm plaid. And I'm grungy. Anyway, back to the question. Selling my soul. Does that mean I believe in a soul, or
that's a hard one
Do
because
puppets have souls?
souls.
Does he want to be?
nobody
Do you want to
really
be?
does, but that's another argument.
Do you want to be a real boy?
Ooh,
I mean, you were kind of made out of a sock, so you got to
I'm
have a
gonna be
soul.
a real
Right?
hand. I'll sell my soul to be a real hand.
A real hand.
I just have a thumb.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Dyke, what do we got for you?
Yeah, oh, it's,
Oh,
we're getting
Didn't
into it
realize it
now.
was
you're gonna end up walking out here with a date.
If you
Maybe
had,
two.
I like this. If you had to have sex with someone you despise in exchange for one
Thing.
thing, what would you demand?
So,
Oh, what's the one thing that would make you?
yeah, what would
Like-
you ask if you had to?
Anal? Would that?
No.
Maybe you might hear into that.
I read that question wrong. Like, I don't know.
Maybe you did read it wrong.
Neither of us gonna like this.
But, okay, no, you had
Well,
to do
one of you would
somebody
like
you
it.
absolutely hated.
But
What would
both
make
of
it
you would
worth your
like it.
time?
Yeah, what's that one thing that would make it worse?
I mean, I don't despise that many people. Like, so. I'm having sex with. So I have sex with someone that I don't like at all.
Or okay, you have sex of not
And-
your preferred gender.
And
How's that?
do I get a wish, or do
Yeah,
I get
whatever
something
you
from
want.
this person?
Yeah,
what's
whatever
the
you
most
want. What would make it worth it?
Oh.
What would-
I don't know. Teleportation power?
Cool.
I don't know.
Right on.
Kind of cool.
We like it.
Discussable.
All right, so what?
It's
Yeah, that's good.
insane.
Grungy.
Yes.
His next question is up.
Nice. So
next thing you know, he's gonna be going up underneath the table.
what's the best revenge you have ever taken? Someone is wearing a skirt. We don't need them under the
That
table.
was your own problem.
What's the best revenge you have ever taken on someone, including your puppet master?
Oh, I would have to say, I'd have to say, the best revenge. I believe is when we were golfing and I smacked Tommy with one of the flag pins. That was quite enjoyable.
But why was it revenge?
So you're violent.
Oh, revenge. Well, I'm not really a revengeful puppet, but it was fun at the time. So does that count?
Mischievous, yeah?
Okay, he's mischievous.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, Pon Far online is.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Hand job.
Yeah,
No.
Is that when Vulcan's going to heat? Is that what that?
That,
That's exactly-
you actually
that's
caught
exactly-
it.
That's exactly
Yeah.
All right. So what's your last question, Dyke?
My last question is: if you could be invisible for 1 hour, where would you go and what would you do? If I could be invisible, I guess go somewhere. Is it naked invisible? Like,
Whatever.
Wait, okay, you're not really naked
Yeah,
if
but
you're
you
invisible.
don't benefit if you're just naked because no one sees you.
Right.
So unless you want to like jack off, like if you're into some,
Like, how are you going to
like if you're into some
women-
voyeurism or something.
Yeah.
A hand can be a beautiful thing.
I mean,
Why does the
honestly, like this probably sounds like I'd probably just sneak in somewhere. It wasn't supposed to be like a I don't know,
like what?
There's no hairy
a
chins.
museum.
You would sneak into a museum naked?
Or
Which museum?
Still some good art.
Yes, which museum?
Or like a concert. You know, and I'd probably go to a really expensive
Concert.
like play or something that I couldn't afford and just watch.
Like one of
Book
those
of Mormon.
3-hour ones?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd go see Hamilton or something and save
So
$400.
what happens when you become visible and you're sitting there naked?
Oh, yeah, 'cause
Well, then we have an awkward conversation.
you're like, I don't know how I got in here.
That's when the teleport powers kick in.
Yeah, we tied it all together.
All right, so what's Grinch's last
All right.
question?
It depends. Okay. Left or right? Pick one.
What?
Ooh,
Would you,
I'm right-handed.
did you grab
Okay.
one too many?
Yes, there was one too many.
All right,
So,
well, we'll put that back in
last but not least,
Victoria's Secret
puppet.
dressing room.
What is Grungy? What's the best sex position?
Oh,
The hand job?
Guess
was
the
it
reach
the hand
around.
job
The
or
reach
the
around.
Saki style? Saki style.
Saki style.
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay.
Soggy style.
Is there a Kama Sutra book for puppets?
Ooh,
There should be one
There
from-
should be. Written by Jim Henson. Or at least his alter ego.
So,
Either way, he'd use a nom de plume for the sex positions for puppets.
okay.
Sure.
Do they make? Do you think they make strap-ons for puppets?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
There's
you have no
this.
idea.
You're right. I have no idea.
They're amazing, and it isn't because I've been pegged. That's
You have been pegged.
I'm
His
being
hair
pegged
looks like
now.
his hair looks
I'm
like
being
he's
pegged
been
right
pegged.
now. What do you think
Yeah.
this is about?
Yeah. Well,
There's a cam model and she does cosplay. She has sex. Her puppet has a dildo attached,
Oh, nice.
Oh.
and she
ooh,
has
that
sex
sounds
with the puppet. And I can't figure out if she's just like a really good ventriloquist or a really bad porn star, but she's somewhere in
Nice.
between. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So,
Yes.
wait,
We're-
should we
we're- yeah,
like
we're
step
getting
out
the-
of the room and give you guys privacy? I mean,
Consent.
you honestly,
So,
doesn't he have that just box
hey,
hair
we
look?
don't know who's behind the. No, this isn't Ian. We don't. This is just Grungy. Who's Ian?
Well, we've
I'm
got the
kidding.
puppet master.
So we do
Ian,
have the puppet master.
Ian
Shall
will
we
be coming. Yeah, we'll be coming back. The Ian will
Shall we
teleport in.
reveal?
Okay,
the
yes.
puppet master?
The puppet master should enter.
You can come enter.
And while he's like warping, just pull the chair more toward
There
you.
we go.
Keep
Yep.
going towards me.
And back.
Well,
Come on.
There he is.
keep going.
Little.
Hey, there we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes,
That'll work.
yes, close to the table.
Don't look at the puppet master.
So,
Look at the puppet.
tell us about your company.
Red Flag Comedy. We've been around for a little over 2 years now. We're local, Indianapolis-based comedy production. We run 2 open mics a week, and then we have a monthly show. Alternating, we have a brunch show, and then on the off month we have a show at night.
Yeah, which open mics do you guys run?
The ice cream social open mic, and then we have one on Liberty Street on Mass Ave. It's a late
Okay.
night mic.
Yeah, we play those every week.
And what days and time, real quick?
Wednesdays at
Wednesdays?
the Dugout from 8 to 10, and then Thursdays at Liberty Street from 9:30 to whenever.
Awesome. Yes.
Do puppets get in free?
We've had some puppets there before, yeah.
Okay, well, how about the puppet babes?
Puppet babes?
Yeah, do they get half price drinks and
No,
Fine, or-
no half price drinks.
no?
There's no ladies.
Oh my gosh, no
Ladies'
ladies'
night.
night. No ladies' night for lady puppets.
It would be great
That's
if
just
we could
strange.
find like a sex.
You would come as a with a female puppet just
Come.
for the.
I caught that too, Jacklyn. I was thinking the same thing. That's weird. On that
Oh
same
no,
wavelength.
my mind's always in the gutter.
Anyway,
we don't even pretend.
I actually do have idea for a feminist puppet for the show. I ran out of funding to actually keep it going, so I wasn't able to.
Welcome,
introduce
Kristen.
that.
Is
I have the sketches actually written with her,
Keep her doing it.
where she like screws up their video that they put on because they wouldn't listen to them in the writers' room. So they decided to sabotage their sketch. So I thought that was fun. And you do that with puppets, it's even funnier. So there you go.
I think if you just add puppets to anything, it makes it exponentially. Well, maybe the first 5 minutes, anything would be funny. After that, actually has to have substance, and that's where
Right,
you
right.
come into play.
I mean,
being an actual good.
Puppets are a bit soft. I prefer, something a little firmer. Just
Speaking of which, so tell us.
Speaking of firmer,
Hey,
I wasn't gonna go there,
All
but
right.
I mean,
I would love to hear the rest of this.
So besides comedy, apparently you are a actually trained chef.
you came with no food.
I did. I came directly from work, so I couldn't bring any food for you guys. But yeah, I went to. I think of myself more as a culinary school
Sorry, yes,
graduate, but
Okay,
I went to school.
Yeah.
I used to own a food truck before I got into comedy.
And what kind of food truck? Which is
We did like gourmet hamburgers and French fries, that kind of thing.
So you were rolling Sonic.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
a man that can cook. That's always
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That is.
I had a comic and his wife stay at my house Saturday night, and we cooked out a bunch of food and drank in the backyard. And then I slept in a tent with my dog because I don't have like an extra, room. Like I have a roommate. So I was like, it'll be fine. I'll sleep in the tent. And I got drunk. I fell asleep in my tent, and my dog got out in the middle of the night.
Oh no.
And I have a backyard, so he was fine. But he couldn't figure out how to get back in the tent.
Aw.
So he just
Okay.
started charging the tent. And he knocked the entire thing over. And then I'm
With you in it?
well, yeah, I'm in
Oh,
it,
my God.
drunk. And
This is why
I'm
this is
like,
not a bounce
now
house.
I'm trying to find the door, and I like slither out of this flattened tent. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I didn't get a good night's sleep, and I woke up early, and I made them like a full English breakfast. And then I just like knocked on the door and was like, hey, you guys decent?
What's the English breakfast?
English breakfast like just has everything on it. It's got tomatoes, usually has beans, some sort of meat. Sometimes like what is it?
That sounds like a gas issue would come
Yeah,
up from
well,
that. I mean,
Definitely, it's a real thing.
so we have a
Toast.
viewer question, you guys. for you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
What made you guys decide to be comedians?
Who's that question to?
Both.
Both. Why comedy?
Oh.
Go.
Oh God, George Carlin, 12 years old, him doing his HBO special. I saw that. I'm like, I want to do that.
But with a
It's
puppet.
just, yeah. Well, I have my stand-up stuff too. I'm not just the puppeteer, so I got that going on too. But I knew if it wasn't stand-up comedy, if it was writing, whatever, it was George Carlin. That moment right there when I saw him on HBO, when I was supposed to, because my parents were Mormon, so that made it even better.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You were bad seed.
And you started doing
I was.
puppeteering for your handicapped daughter.
But that
Well,
Or
so
with
I can
her.
spend more, I can spend more time with her, and that's how come I started doing the puppets in the hotel rooms.
that's sweet.
And I would have a buddy of mine. I'd take one day out of the month. We'd do the audio. I'd go in like hotel rooms I would stay in as a flight attendant, and I would bring green screen to just put over the shower curtain or whatever, and I just started producing it by myself with just the one guy's help because I would spend more time at home. with my crazy projects, because a lot of my projects I would have to organize all these different people because I've got sketches that we filmed. I tried to put together theater troops, you name it, trying to do some form of comedy. I've done it. I was in a comedy rock band. Our big hit was called Douchebag in the Cul-de-Sac. We had a strong fanatic following of like 30 people. So that was pretty sweet. They showed up to everywhere we went, and they're like, ah. So yeah, it was crazy. We even did Crackers in Broad Ripple, and did an acoustic set, a 5-minute acoustic set there. And the best part about that is that we couldn't play there again. And the reason why is that we had these other comedians wanting to experiment with like different instruments and stuff. And they're like, no, we hold the little microphone and we sell the jokes. And we were like that. And so everybody's like, oh my gosh, we can be fun and do these kind of crazy musical things, but they didn't want that.
Maybe that's also alt comedy,
right?
But we had this discussion. Sorry to interrupt, but last week. But do you know what alt comedy is, or?
I mean, my kind of general understanding is that, like,
clean the table out.
If you're someone that goes kind of only into comedy clubs and you work your way up to the traditional, like, you know, you go to comedy club open mics, you start as a host, then you become a feature, you become a headliner. That's kind of like the traditional route. If you do like literally comedy anywhere else, I think that's considered alt. So it's like, I think what a lot of comics do now is kind of a mix, you know, in that. I mean, there's some people that only do the comedy clubs, some people only do bar shows and whatever, but I think stage time is stage time. So it's just like, I do both. I feel like, you know, I wouldn't consider myself like an alt comic, but I've definitely done more non-club rooms than I have club rooms.
So how did you get into comedy?
I watched George Carlin and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Interesting.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I've always been a smart ass, you know. I went to Catholic school most of my life, and, you know, they would give me the last
we got a Mormon and a Catholic.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, I'm very X.
Yeah, reformed Catholic.
Oh, I just told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, you know, I was the guy, I always had a lot of questions, you know. Like, I remember, like, being in religion class and asking what was, you know, we just learned about sex, but then they told us that, you know, Mary had this virgin birth. And I was like, I've got some questions.
That work? Yeah.
I was like, so did God just, like, come into her? Like, how did that work, you know? And so they would give me the last 5 minutes to ask my dumb, like, religious questions. But I never thought about doing stand-up until, like, I was in my later 30s, like, but I always did stuff, like, I was in a comedy hip-hop group when I was, like, in my early 30s.
Right.
And,
there you go. Musical comedy.
Yeah, and we would do, because I can't play any instruments, I'm not a musically talented person, but I always liked the theatrics of it. Like, we had a song about Catholic schoolgirls, and we'd have girls dance on stage in Catholic schoolgirl outfits. You know, we'd have, like,
every man's fantasy.
People in costumes and stuff.
Wait a minute, I thought you said you're comedians not doing strip clubs.
What's that?
It was comedy, but it sounds like that's a strip club.
Oh, no, this was just wherever. We brought the girls with us. You know? They were my friends. I'd get them drunk and be like, hey, put this on. Also, it was weird because I always had two, like, Catholic schoolgirl outfits, like, in my closet. So people were like, what? That likes to dress up, you know?
Is that right?
We had a song called Panties, and we would throw panties out into the stage.
How did you get
usually it's
panties?
the opposite.
So, panties
get thrown on
That
stage.
is funny.
Was that how panty raids came about? They just did that for the...
Well, what sucked is I was always the guy that had to go buy the panties before every show. So I would just go to, like, Target or whatever and buy, like, the cheapest, like, bulk thing, and then just not make eye contact when the guy was, like, ringing it up. Just, like...
Yeah.
So what kinds of... Would you get the pretty ones or would you get the gray ones?
Oh, yeah, I'd get the trashiest ones they had.
So basically none of us. So they're asking where the puppet went to. Or when's the puppet come out? He's freaking laying his head on the... At least he's still above the table.
Yes. I didn't want to upstage Elle.
This is also the quietest I've ever seen Saundra before.
I need to be stimulated.
Okay.
And stimulated, I'm sorry. No.
I've heard that.
Sorry.
I mean, we're friends and all. I just don't know that I got it. I mean, my apologies.
That's quite challenging.
I got to work up to something like that.
I'm highbrow.
Yeah.
Highbrow. That's
Let's-
so I'm waiting. You know, I was gonna do some God stuff, but you know,
Well, so we've got
God
maybe
stuff's always fun.
maybe this will bring inspire. So George Carlin, yeah, we all love George Carlin, or I agree with you. But so let's see, Richard Pryor could say stuff only Richard could say. To me, the best comics are ones that make you laugh, but they have a message behind the jokes.
gotta have a message.
Okay, let me back on the
Gotta-
message
You
behind the
don't
joke.
have to have a message.
My
but
message is
to get the
I think you should
following.
have- I think
That's
you
how
should have a
you.
mix of two.
Yeah, it's the funniest, but the thing to get a following that's gonna take you, that's gonna follow you around and watch you and go to your shows. That's the message, because that's what connects and that's what brings people back, I think. But yeah, I mean, all your biggest ones have a message. Even like Amy Schumer. I mean, a lot of her stuff. Even a lot of her stuff really has to do with women's rights.
Yes.
I mean, right? I mean, men talk about hooking up and all this stuff, and you know,
Does
and
your
then when a
comedy
woman
have a
does it,
message?
huh?
Does your comedy have a message?
Oh God, I hope not. No.
Does yours?
I think yours does. It comes out. I think most people have some type of voice or message or things that they generally like circulate around and talk about.
I like it if it's
So you want to know why we became comedians?
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Oh,
like
well,
these guests suck.
I guess
Why don't we just go down the road?
I was going to
Go
say,
ahead.
I don't think we've ever actually did that.
No, we did.
Did we?
We all talked about how
Why
we,
did I-
all three of us, when
Oh.
we first
Yeah.
were together.
I did it because Suzanne, one of my biggest fans,
Yeah.
and she's like amazing, and she follows the podcast, told me she'd almost pee her pants every time I'd be around. I'd have everybody go, and she's like, you really should do that. And I'm like, you know what, bitch, I got you. I'm going to do that. And then I was hooked. So it was just,
Sweet.
it was more like a dare for me.
Sweet.
Quick, yes,
Life
quick and to
creative.
the point.
Oh, I grew up watching comedy. George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Lewis Black, Daniel Tosh. So I've always been able to like formulate connections and
See, I'm terrible. I don't even have.
Yeah.
I
I would
don't even have anybody I can
always-
relate to as far as.
just being like in
Comedians.
college and with your friends, like you naturally like joke around and see who could get the best like punchline or hit the hardest, and then like, you know, later on we'd be like, and people, and I grew up and have always traditionally hung around a lot of guys, and they would like, you know, you'd say something and they'd be like, whatever, move on to the next, and then we'd watch Daniel Tosh or we'd watch The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and they would verbatim say what I said, and I'd be like, see, like what the fuck, you laughed at that, but you don't laugh at me. So, and then finally I just got the balls to do it.
And you
Did it.
did some?
There you go.
I started, and I started because next to best thing I never wanted to do theater or be in a play or anything like that necessarily, but I have always. I'm a fencing coach, so I talk in front of people. And so then I was like, hey, I'm going to get on stage. It's going to limit my time. And coincidentally, people thought I was funny or am funny. So I've got a time limit. And my biggest challenge is being too verbose. And so being on stage, it requires having to get to the punchline quicker because there's a time limit. So that just morphed itself into continuing and to make people laugh. It's infectious. It's
I
helped
just want
me
to
with
point
my
out I'm too
impression.
fat to be a stripper, which is so I had to go into comedy.
Actually, no, you're not.
Depends
You know,
on
like,
the
oh, shit.
Depends on the
Yeah.
pun.
I'm going to do both worlds now. No, I'm not.
I've been
You will
in
not
some
find
where
me.
you are definitely in the top tier.
I'd be in the top tier of what?
Strippers.
I can
Oh,
see that.
Yeah.
like making
Oh, yeah.
big bang,
In
huh?
that, in that particular club, yeah.
Oh, dang.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did comedy.
No, I mean-
I did comedy at a strip club last week.
Yeah,
Really?
how'd that go?
Neat.
oh my
It
God,
was,
you Club Rio.
Yeah, Club Rio.
Okay.
Well, okay, so I used to work there.
You used to
very,
work there.
very
That's,
briefly.
yes.
At Club
Yeah.
Rio.
Yeah. Well, one of my best friends. Let me make sure I edit this so I don't get anybody in trouble.
You don't have to.
You
One of
have
my
to protect
best
the names.
One of my best friends, I just won't say his name.
Okay.
One of my best friend's parents never got him a social security number, him or his sister.
Whoa.
What?
You automatically.
You
get it.
automatically get one.
As soon as you're born at the
must
hospital,
have
they
lost.
I don't
assign
know
you
what
one.
they were doing.
They probably lost it.
And these weren't like foreigners or anything. Like they were just regular Americans, but he went his whole childhood into his early adult life without I'm very sorry.
Maybe
I
it's
won't
not
say
the
your name.
card.
No, they did not have social security
Numbers.
numbers.
But you can't even go to school
What
without
did-
So
it.
Yeah. She
he
give
would
birth in a
go to school
barn?
and he would make up excuses and say he doesn't have to give it and blah blah. And then eventually, so he was his parents just paid for everything. He was in his like early 20s,
Huh?
and he finally was like,
Water.
I want a job,
Only water.
and his parents owned a nope, I can't say that.
Something.
I feel like there was some sketchiness going on from the start.
There was a little sketchiness going on, but he basically got an in and to be a strip club DJ. He knows music, like he's like Google for music. He knows every song and this.
Was it a home birth?
No, but he eventually wanted.
That's what I was wondering. Or a barn?
He became a strip club DJ. He applied, got a social security card number. He just came clean. He was like, my parents never got me one. I need one, and they gave one to him.
Interesting.
And but he became a strip club DJ, so I would always go and hang out with my friend at the strip club because I could get in for free and sit there. And, back when you could still like smoke cigarettes in bars and stuff, and I would just hang out there. So I met a lot of people in that industry, and at one point I was working as a cook, and one day they needed a door guy. And I was just like, I can stand by the door. And I became a doorman. Hated it. It combined two of my least favorite things, physical altercation and glitter. And it's just like, everyone's like, oh, that's so cool. Like, here's the thing. Like, seeing a girl's boobs is cool for like the first 5 minutes. And then it's just like a girl bitching about her day, just where the tits out. And you're just like, this isn't. Sorry, I looked at all your boobs after I said that. I don't know.
That's all right. Go for it.
They happen to be there.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, after 10 minutes, you're just in the middle of your shift and everyone's just smoking and complaining and like half the people are naked. And it loses all its magic, and you're just like, whatever. But so somebody told me there was an open mic at Club Rio. Club Rio is also where that Pacer shooting happened.
They've been trying to downplay that.
Yeah.
What
So,
happened?
I don't know. Some Pacers were involved with some thuggery and some shots were fired off. But that was before I even worked there. But so I was like, I have to go do this. Had to pay a cover charge just to get in to do the open mic, which was
Kind of
Funny.
yeah.
I've had to do that once in Denver.
And
That
but
was a club.
the coolest thing, actually, they would go
You can tell us that.
stripper comic. I had a decent set.
You know what's funny about that? Keep going, and I'll
Chime
continue on with it. I'll chime in. I have my own version of that.
Experience.
But
It's the flip side of that particular day.
one of the dancers just wanted to do time, and so she did her first set. And so it was like in front of all of her coworkers. It was just like, that's the ballsiest thing I've ever seen. But then
Naked?
no, she had her clothes on. But then for the very last joke, she took her shirt off and did a pole trick. And so she's hanging upside down, swinging on the pole, holding the mic, telling the joke. And I was just like,
Just
you
stop.
guys,
Stop.
you guys,
Stop. Yeah, you can't compete with that.
Yeah, you can't. You cannot compete with that.
All right. So what?
Sorry, yes,
Okay,
Ian's
so that
experience in
was
Denver.
that was the night. The same show as he's talking about. I mean, it's the same place, the same day, because they thought, oh, we'll try out stand-up comedy, and they were wanting to do something similar to that for the afternoon show, but only 2 of us showed up for that. And the reason I did, because I promised that night I'd spend with the family. There you go. And so I was there with one more comedian, and there's almost nobody.
I like that.
7
The family
people.
man by night, strip
That's
club by
actually
day.
that's a good idea though. I
But
could do.
It is a good
Do it
idea,
as a
but
pub.
not at 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, there's no one in there.
And so just the is like, well, a strip club, I have to do it once. And in that particular set, I think is even funnier because there's like I said, 7 people there, and I messed with 2 of the men there, and then is like it'd be the worst you've ever bombed, but there's also naked tits. So that's what made it really funny. I bombed, and there's boobs. There you go. It's a day.
All is right in the world again.
Exactly. It's
Just
a
balances it.
Just
It's
jump.
a balance.
Every pun intended.
I think
Exactly.
it was the most money I've ever spent at an open mic.
How much was it?
Well, it was $8 to get in, and then I was probably having like $8, $7 cocktails, and I probably
How
had
many
like
lap dances?
no.
Well, hell, they didn't charge me.
I can afford that after all the drinks, but yeah.
Special.
It was funny though because we went with a female comic and she was tipping the girls more than any of the guys. She was just like, "You guys know you're supposed to tip, right?" And I'm like, "Well, I feel like I'm kind of like working, you know? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going up to like Pervert Row and like sticking my face in places. Like,
Right.
just back here going over
By
my
the way,
set
it's
list.
free for me.
Do we have a new question?
And no tip for you.
Oh no, just saying, how can one, tire of the female body? How can one what?
I don't think it's that you're tired. I
That's
think
pawn, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that like seeing a girl's boobs
I'm tired of it.
is special
Every
because
day.
it's like she lets you look at them, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe in a movie back in the 80s, but like normally it's a situation where it's just like, yeah, but if it's just somebody that you're working with, it's not like you see how all the sausage is made, it's not sexy when you see a girl complaining about she's got to get back to her kids and she got the babysitter and this and that, and she's chain smoking and worried about paying rent, and it's all of a sudden the sexiness level just starts dropping.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, this is just a coworker.
No fantasy, all reality.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, and it's just like there's nothing happening. Now before I started working there, I had a friend who was a bouncer, and he would bring strippers back to party sometime, and so that would be fun because I made a game one time. It was 3 really dumb girls. I'm not saying all strippers are dumb, but these girls were all
careful.
These girls were specifically dumb, and so
I used to be a stripper. They're vast majority of them pretty dumb.
I made a game. It was called Stripper Jeopardy, and I
Not all, but a good handful.
I took trivia questions and I made the multiple choice to make them easier.
That's part right there. You had to make them.
But if you lost, you had to strip, and this was just in our house, and that was way hotter than the actual strip club because then we just made fun of how this one girl was. I'm sorry too. I hope no one I know ever sees this podcast.
Oh, they totally probably will.
Yeah.
You know what? That's the
why you
point.
showed
One of
up.
the girls was an Australian stripper, so I purposely gave her like an Australia question.
Uh-huh.
She did not get it right.
She popped it. That's okay. We
Oh
as
my
Americans would probably fail
An American?
the entry test to become an American.
That's
How sad
actually
is
quite
that?
a common. No, I mean that's
That's so sad.
But if we
Americans
were-
can't even pass it.
no, it is.
But they don't prepare for it. Like at least America, I think when you
No,
apply for
school is
citizenship-
totally not preparing us.
Well, no, you just don't remember it.
No,
Like,
I know.
Yeah,
That's
So,
what Google
how many
is.
they do
crazy
teach you
stripper
it. You
stories?
just don't remember it.
I guess strippers is the theme
Oh
today.
my gosh. Yeah, that's funny you should say that. But I do have that one where I was in Montreal. Did you hear my
They use
Montreal stripper
quarters.
story?
They don't
No,
have
no, no.
dollars.
No,
What, they use
They just throw
quarters?
loonies
Well,
up
there's
there?
more to it. There's more to it.
Okay.
than
Because they're
that.
dollars. Like a coin.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, that is very true.
They throw they chuck coins at strippers.
I've
then.
chuck
Is it like trying to bounce it off their ass?
No,
Is it
Well,
like
they
a
don't
new
actually
game?
throw it at them. They kind of toss them onto the stage.
Around the person.
I mean, I'm sure
I'd be
if one
trying to
wouldn't get the
bounce
proper
it.
lap dancer, they might toss one out. I don't know.
Is it like the game quarters? So you're trying to shoot
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, right in the crap. Right in the crap. There we go. I win. I don't know what's coming out.
Oh my God, where'd it go?
Montreal,
But,
yes, happening place.
But yeah, Montreal was, and they have a specific rule there. As long as you don't put your finger in the happy place, you can touch them during their dances, lap dances. And I had never had a lap dance at all. And then I didn't have any money, and a buddy gave me $20, and I didn't know what dance, personal dances fees were. And so she goes for like 4 songs, and she had to tell me, it's like, oh, well, you can touch me. I'm like, because I've been told here in America, if you touch, you're getting shit kicked out of you, right? And I was like,
They touch it.
but you know what I mean? It's like, if so
I've never-
I had
I
my
mean-
hands on my sides. I'm like, no, not gonna touch.
You can't like touch their breast.
And then finally after the 3rd song, I'm like, I guess I'll touch. It was very awkward. And then after 4 songs, she said, oh, that's $40. I'm like, oh, I only got $20 that my buddy gave me. Because he has all the money, because I was broke, super broke. And then finally he comes out. I'm like haggling with this lady, saying, just let me sit down. He's got the money. He's coming out. I swear to God. And then she and all the other strippers and all the other bouncers were staring me down, making sure I didn't leave, because I'm like,
Oh yeah,
wait till he comes
you
out.
gotta pay.
Just wait till he comes out. And,
One way or another.
And then he comes out like half an hour later, dancing around. Hey, what's happening, guy? What's happening? And I'm like, give me goddamn $20. And this was in Montreal in January, where it's like almost 20 below zero. So, I could have got the shit kicked out of me, my money taken and thrown out in the cold, and I've been fucked. Wouldn't be able to get in. And
I thought we had covered you clearly didn't have any money, so what money are they stealing?
Well, that was a joke on them. You see? Like, ha ha ha, I didn't have any cash in the first place.
I love that this started off as a women supporting women podcast, and we were just telling stripper stories.
Oh my
That's
god!
a legitimate business.
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
you can make some.
Oh yeah,
You put
no,
yourself through school.
There's nothing wrong with the Chippendales, just the sock.
no,
My mom and I went to Chippendales a long time ago. Right when I turned 21,
I
we
do
happened to
like
be in
to watch
Vegas. and it was the most-
sock fall off.
No, it didn't. It was the most
Yeah.
disappointing show ever.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you want to see Wayne?
I don't know what I wanted
Well,
to see, but we were at the
I could
Chippendales
just
show,
sit
and it was.
looking at their bodies. I don't need to see that.
I mean,
I just like the oiled down. Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. One of the differences, men and women, when the men see the women's strip in, like, say, Tennessee, where it's like you can see the whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
And
some
we
clubs-
don't mind that. It's like, oh, okay, that'll work. And then when women say, well, we don't need to see that bottom half, it's like, well, that's part of the package. You know? I don't know.
See,
But I think that's just a basic, like, generality, hack bit.
the first time I went to an all nude strip club, I was very excited. I was in Georgia. I was on the way down. It was me and my friend, and I used to drive a school bus. I used to drive a school bus for this camp that I worked at. So I had to get my CDL. So like, technically, I was a trucker, and truckers got in for free or discount or whatever. So I was like, I got a truck driver license. So I was like, let's stop at this strip club. And their liquor laws were weird. So it was like, if it was a fully nude strip club,
Oh yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
drink alcohol.
You can't drink alcohol.
You
Yeah,
could
that was-
you could bring in your own alcohol.
Exactly.
But you
Bring
weren't
it in,
allowed-
but you can't.
So we walked in, and I didn't realize
Sell.
this, and we go in, and it's a dry. I don't know if you've ever been sober in a strip club before, but it's real fucking weird. And we walked in, and we just ordered like breakfast, and so I'm sitting there eating like moons over my hammy, and this girl just comes out. They had all these weird rules. They weren't allowed to like come up and ask for dances. They weren't allowed to like solicit really money. Like it was kind of the exact opposite. And this girl just kind of came out real sad, and I remember her just walking naked around this pole. She didn't do any tricks or anything. She just held the pole and like walked around a few times, and I was like, this is depressing. Like, this is, I don't want to
Sometimes it is,
just.
you can kind of smell the sadness. of,
Yeah, I was just like, I feel shamed because this girl's just completely naked. I feel like if she had her underwear on, I would feel a little bit better, but I can't finish my eggs, Like,
Yeah.
the grossest thing I ever saw, I'm done with strip talk after that, but the grossest thing I ever saw at a strip club is this girl, I was going up to tip her, and she takes they take your glasses off if you wear glasses.
Okay.
Oh yeah, to put
Because
their boobs in your
they
face.
don't even want to rub your boobs
Yeah.
someone's glasses,
Okay.
So she takes my glasses off, and she folds them, and she pulls out her underwear, and she rubs them
Oh, that's
up and
tacky.
down,
That's just fucking gross.
and then puts them back on me with just a schmear across.
That's actually illegal because you could.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bodily fluids.
That's
bodily
that's
fluids,
really.
yeah.
I would have asked for my money back.
That's terrible.
But from a guy's
What?
perspective, the guy, you'd be like, oh, that was cool, dude. And it's like, well, no, it's not.
That's
What disease she has? It's, I don't know. And you got that all over your glasses.
Yeah.
You need a little.
Yeah, like if a guy did that, he'd be in jail.
It's true.
Right. So yay for the world of comedy where we keep our clothes on.
I know, right?
Actually,
Oh,
a lot of the
didn't know
stuff that's
that.
done like in strip clubs, like if for like the bachelor parties, and they pull the bachelor up on stage, and like they'll have like the two
Oh,
girls
like
that
rip his underwear into
that, and like they'll take their belts off and like whip them. I mean, and they just kind of go along with it. Like technically, if a woman, let's say the reverse, it was like male strippers and they pulled the woman on. I mean, later on, like she could make a claim that it was against her will and this and that, and she was caught up in the moment, and she would totally win. But I don't think a guy would have the same leeway. They'd be like, whatever, it's two naked girls hitting you with a belt. Like, get over
Yeah,
it.
I didn't want to fill out that police report. And then she
Yeah,
smeared
what-
my
yeah, what-
glasses in her
You would
underwear.
be- I'm sure that guys would think that they were less of a man if they were completely.
That's not fair because that just doesn't. Yeah, that's just
But-
wrong
but-
on all accounts.
Okay, come on,
The
man.
double standard.
Is it a double standard there or what?
I think it's a double standard, but I think it always comes down to most of
Thank
the
you
time,
for telling us you threw up.
Today's show requires a bucket by your side.
I think most of the time it's kind of known that like a man can beat up a woman.
Right.
So it's just like,
We're at a
yeah,
natural
she did this
disadvantage.
thing, but if I didn't like it, like I could always murder her. You know, like that's the. I mean, I wouldn't.
I was thinking more
No,
like
but-
drop kick, but
But like,
No, I'm sure that's the
But like,
that would be some of the mentality.
if the
Right.
situation
Roles
was reversed, it's like, oh, here's this guy that can murder me who's like ripping my underwear off on stage or doing something.
I
like,
guess what
you
does he
know.
look like?
that is true.
Eh,
I
that is the correct comedy answer.
Yeah.
I always think the difference between like, you know, a creep and a not creep is how hot the guy is.
Oh, yeah.
It's always like, anytime like
I
you
see
say a
that.
creepy story, if it's like Jason Momoa or something, it's like, oh, he broke in my house with like a live bag of snakes and a hockey mask. You know,
Like,
he's always
that's-
surprising me. You know, like,
That's keeps me on my toes. You know, yes.
Well, that
Wonderful.
explains
Wait,
the
do we
serial
have
killers
another
quickly.
puppet?
Do we have
Yes,
other
we
puppets?
have one more. We did bring. Hold on. He's coming. Hold on.
Whoa. Ian will exit for just a moment off the screen.
wait,
Ooh,
why did you throw up, Ponfar?
yeah.
I think the glasses.
the
My
pussy
story.
smear.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that was really vulgar to say.
Fun fact: apparently, lap dances in Iceland cost upwards of
$600?
Is that a private dance or a lap dance?
A lap? Like, interesting. What the hell, dude? That guy's on. He's tripping balls. Look at that thing.
This is
Look
the-
at his eyes.
This is the laziest
There you go.
puppet I've ever
Hey,
seen.
hey,
Yeah.
It's lazy.
the
Yes.
laziest
Is
puppet.
this a new
Hey.
puppet?
This
Is this a puppet stripper?
This is a puppet
He's
stripper.
the wise
stricken.
guy.
That's totally right.
Wise
He's the
guy.
wise guy. Yeah, he's this pitch man. He's into the foods.
Now, where's your accent from? We're not convinced.
This is stupid Queens talking here.
Do you realize you forgot your clothes?
All the better to fill you with, my dear.
Oh,
You forgot your gold chain.
well,
too.
how good are you?
Do you have any non-rapey puppets?
That is a fair question, my friend.
Yeah.
Are they all
Right
rapey?
now,
I bet Miss Piggy
No.
like ran, dude. They'd scare
Miss
her away.
Piggy's not part of the troop. Or
Yeah.
maybe she started
She
all
is
of it
part
and
of
she's
the
just
Dimension
retired in
universe.
Florida. And
Oh yeah, now that's one abusive bitch right there. I mean, she'd get away beating the crap
Oh.
out of Kermit.
oh, I
and-
love it.
and
Oh, she can be
nothing
anything she
happens to
wants.
her.
Oh my gosh.
Just saying, if we're talking about
Oh.
puppets,
Is this the highbrow entertainment you were talking about? Something?
Highbrow.
No.
baby. Highbrow.
what does that mean? Highbrow.
Highbrow. I mean, you.
That means I'm the
She's
shit.
speechless.
I'm the
Yeah.
shit
I
over here.
don't know. I mean, you're a
I'm
comedian.
totally
You should know what
highbrow.
highbrow is. No,
But I don't.
it's stuff that you're talking about topics like the audience is in on it. Like it's not vulgar. It's not. I mean, it's,
Oh yeah, no, it's completely unedited.
Highbrow is
and
bullshit.
unscripted. Just so you know,
Highbrow is
we just kind of
bullshit,
roll with
baby.
it and
Oh my
have fun. Yeah,
How long have you guys been doing this podcast for?
we are on episode 10.
We are in episode, so that means it's 2.5 months in.
Yep.
Yes.
And we are booked. We've got. I already. I
Yeah.
So
posted
what's
a
his deal?
teaser.
What's
Your puppet, it's
wait,
gotta
what's
have
his
a
name again?
story.
Tommy.
Tommy.
From
Tommy.
Queens. Tommy from
Tommy.
Queens. I'm a pitch guy. What do you need me to sell? I'll be there. Whatever you smoking, drinking, I'm all about it. And that's my gift. My gift to puppethood. Hey.
Now, does Tommy do comedy? I mean, like stand up, or is just Tommy just the wise
Just more of a
salesman?
hands-on guy.
Yeah, just full
I'm an
on.
artiste.
I see what you did there.
Easy.
I'm an artiste.
You're an
I
artist.
auditioned for Ubi. Y'all familiar with Ubi?
No, what's Ubi?
Ubi was a kids program, if you want to call it that, in the early 2000s, where they came up with these things on our hands, and that was the whole damn show. Yeah, they want to do that. That's fine. But he talked down to these little schmucks, made them feel like they're stupid. And I auditioned for that show and got the part, saw what the rest of the show was about, and I got out of there toot sweet. I am an artiste.
So you take the high road, not the-
Highbrow, baby, highbrow. Damn
Interesting.
straight. I'm all about the highbrow.
Okay.
Highbrow.
So I seen something really freaking weird today.
Okay.
I went into get gas, and you know how they have the awning?
hmm
Okay, there was a bird hanging curious, how bad has the world come to that birds are like
Committing suicide?
I mean, I took a
Birdicide?
picture.
No, that's
I had to because and you couldn't even see what it was hanging from. It was just kind of there, and at first I was
Do
like,
you think it took its own life?
Well, you couldn't have easily gotten up there.
I mean, it could have been other birds that took that bird.
Or the bird tried to steal, and they used him as an example.
I mean, it's
I totally took a picture. It was just kind of taking like freaking weird crap.
like an eye for an eye or a hand for a hand. It's like,
No, it was like, yeah.
And then
See, no, you got to see. Well, I'll share with this. I'll attach it in the comments later.
hey,
So you
Tommy,
guys
what's
can
your
see.
favorite animal?
Cheetah.
I mean, it's just hanging there.
It looks like it's
Just wants
photoshopped.
to
Like,
find
I
it.
swear to God, wait. I did a video.
We're watching an unfortunate bird.
See?
Oh,
Holy.
that's like
I couldn't. You can't make that up, right? You can't make that up. I thought it was a rat at first. Sorry, you guys. I'm terrible. You can
favorite
attack me
animal.
later. I just want to
animal?
point out
Sorry. Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Well, obviously you're not that tall.
I know.
Sorry, you can't get to it.
I've got a dog. My favorite animal is my dog.
what kind of dog do you have?
He's half Rottweiler, half Beagle, so he looks like a tiny Rottweiler, but he's got the Beagle
So
howl.
he's a Botweiler.
Yeah.
He's a robot weiler.
So what's been the favorite, the best stage you've hit? Did you have one you really liked?
I've been a couple. So I did my first. I got offered a feature spot in Goshen, Indiana.
Okay, I'm familiar. I'm from Washington, Indiana.
Yeah, so went up there and did, and this was a very small town. It was off the beaten path, and it was a bar show. We walked in, it was packed full of people. A lot of people wearing camouflage.
Is there a lot of any Amish? There's a lot of Amish in Goshen.
No, there was no. It was just country folk, and
Country
and
folk.
I
It's
did.
not that country.
I've only done like 15 minutes, like twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to do 15 minutes, and I was like kind of worried about how my set was going to go, and had a great crowd reaction. It was a hot crowd. People were excited, and then the headliner went up and killed, and then I had people come up to me afterwards and go. But this was all people that like. I don't think there's anything that happens in that town, so they were all people that were there to see comedy. I hate anytime you have to like ambush somebody with comedy. Like somebody goes out to a bar just to drink,
And they don't know that
they don't know a comedy show's happening, and then you're like, "Hey, now I'm going to tell some jokes."
usually posted. You just have to read.
But yeah, I like when at least people know there's going to be some comedy. Now you can hate my act or not think I'm funny.
Oh, I didn't
Well,
want to say
like-
anything. I'm sorry. You caught me. Was it my facial gestures?
I'm getting
It's
heckled.
I was like,
By a naked puppet.
oh yeah.
Now you know that. That's like the worst of the worst there.
That's right.
You know you suck if you got a naked puppet heckling
nothing
you.
on me, my friend.
What was
You
there
guys
was
are
a
hacks.
there was something on Comedy Central like ages ago and it had puppets.
Crank anchors.
Crank
Yeah, that was
naked.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, douchebags. Oh my gosh, they call it.
They're bringing it back, I believe.
Oh,
That was a good show.
was.
The one
Are you auditioning for Crank Anchors?
Oh,
I
there
should.
was they had a strip club
I
one.
should audition.
Remember,
Yeah.
she called a
I
strip
would
club
get that
and said
prank
that
like a
she
mother.
pretended she was like, I'm blind, I'm Cammy. That was my stripper name, by the way. And so it was super funny for me. And she's like, I just want to make sure I have to bring my dog in because I'm blind to see an eye dog. And it was the funniest fucking thing ever.
Sweet.
The commentary back and forth between her and the guy answering the phone is hilarious.
Well, he's already set for a stripper one right there.
We just forgot the pool. Where's the miniature pool?
I know.
Oh, I can do
Could have
that.
been
It's
using the
being
light.
serviced.
Oh,
Sorry.
I do some
Wax
sexy
on.
stripping.
Yeah, wax
off.
up. Yep.
You would be so impressed with my sexy stripping.
What do you mean sexy stripping? Dude, you're already naked. You didn't even strip for us.
I'm sorry.
I even
It's
bought
all
the dollar
illusion.
bills.
I'm horrible.
Is the next puppet
Yeah.
just going to be a hand? Like a-
Well, it's only won't be a
Shabby or
hand
shabby.
job.
Oh, hey, come on, give us a break. break here. We're on a budget. We got budget puppets today.
Ian's on a budget too.
If you would like better puppets, sponsor us and like our page.
Yes.
Yes.
Like,
Other than
you
that,
can come back in if you'd like.
Yeah.
I would put on more clothes for me.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
though,
hell,
you don't like budget
You
puppets.
have to pay Tommy to put clothes on.
We had to pay him to put clothes on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
can stay naked.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Market
We'll take-
niche, my friend. Market niche.
Now you can stay naked. I'm a cheapo. I ain't spending.
So
Well, welcome back, Ian.
Yeah.
Oh, hi there. What are you folks doing here?
Where'd you go?
I don't know.
I missed you, man.
Yeah, we did. We
It is,
didn't know.
So now you know why I enjoy the puppets. They're just fun to just come up with crazy stuff that if I said it out loud myself, I'd be like, what the
So do you like keep that on when you're by yourself in the shower?
Ooh.
I mean, so that you have someone looking up at you like a blowjob.
As much as that's not really too hack of a bet, it is very still funny, the visual of him looking up at me. I'd be like, no.
Well, then it would, I would think it would make you feel less alone.
For me, it's not really, a three-man sport. So I'm good with just me.
Well,
I don't
put
need
him-
anybody to watch me.
Yeah.
And then if I'm high, he'd be really watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't, no, that'd be it. I would just like,
Well, maybe a little bit of lipstick and a wig.
ooh, no.
What would the
Transdermal.
puppet wear?
Exactly. All right.
wonderful.
Oh,
Hey.
So, Ian,
hey, you can heckle me all you want.
What-
Don't mess with the guy.
what was
No,
your best
sorry.
game?
Mess with the guy.
No, you can
Yeah,
totally heckle
best-
each other. Man, you guys can throw down. Wait a minute, but you got to
That's
put my
right.
hand behind your back. We got to make that fair.
I'll make it fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I could draw.
Oh,
face
it's a
on my
hand against the
There you
hand.
go, there you go.
We're gonna hand the hand off.
Puppet roast
We're gonna
battle.
have a hand off like
Yeah, we
roast
should have had
battle,
like
my
a
friend.
miniature.
That'll be the next thing on Comedy Central. Puppet roast battling.
That's
Why
actually a
not?
good
That
idea.
sounds like a
That's what
fabulous
sounds
idea.
Great.
All
You
right.
guys all heard it first.
He's
Hey, I lost
going
my
to-
accent. I don't know what the fuck.
Out of character.
He's looking at
Out of
us.
character.
Well, it's because I.
Can I answer another question?
Sure.
Oh, you go
Yeah.
ahead.
Wow, we've never had anybody
Sure.
else to do another question.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope you get a really good one.
If you could have seduced one person that you knew in your lifetime, but didn't, who would you select
Uh-oh.
for a seduction? I don't know. I wish I had a list of famous people.
That you knew.
Person that.
Mhm.
Person,
Oh, we don't know these people, so you just make some shit up, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Your
think.
TA at college, she was hot into psychology and just.
Oh, okay. So, well, this is not a person I knew, but when I was a little kid, there was that show, Lois and Clark. It was about Superman.
Yes,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course.
And then the
Classic.
actress Terry Hatcher. I had such a crush on her. I remember I spray painted "I love TH" under a bridge by my school. I've never, unfortunately, got to meet her, but yeah, if I could have hooked up with '90s Terry Hatcher, I would have.
Ooh,
definitely
nice.
chosen her.
That's a solid.
Yeah.
But it was Desperate Housewives. She was in that.
Yeah.
too.
She's a little older by Desperate Housewives.
She's
but
She was mature.
She was also. I think she was the woman in the Seinfeld episode where they were trying to guess if her boobs were real.
Oh,
yeah.
She gets the great line at the end. She was yeah. Cool. Now I'm getting
That's
Oh, all
flash thinking
right.
about Terry Hatcher.
Nice.
Sweet.
So what you had to answer a question is because since you turn you on with all three women out in the middle of the country and a hand puppet. You
There
and the
is a
hand puppet
blurry
are
in the
hooking up.
back
Just
there.
saying.
We'll,
He loves me, man.
Yep, you two
He
can
loves
you
me.
can
Oh,
exchange
you got such a
numbers.
crush on me. Oh,
Play
we
it.
go back, way back.
So do you guys? All right, we're down to what, like the last 7 minutes, and
so we need to
wanna-
cover the month of July. What's going
Yeah.
on with everybody? Where
We do
you
love
Plug it,
this
baby,
point. Where you
plug
gonna
it.
be? Blah blah blah.
Look it.
Red Flag Comedy on all social media. Instagram's probably the most content wise. We have Audrey Stewart, who is a Hoosier comedian that lives out in LA. We're doing a pop-up show next Monday, the 8th, at the Catacombs under the City Market. It's going to be
awesome.
underground comedy and underground barbecue. We're teaming with Gilman's
Nice.
Barbecue, and you can get a barbecue and a full comedy show. for $20. Please come out and check that out. And yeah,
Okay.
other than that, just Red Flag Comedy.
Red Flag Comedy.
Or
There you go.
Dyke Michaels. I don't really say anything funny on social media, but
Yeah.
That's the opposite of me. I sound better on paper, I'm sure.
So do you have anything coming up?
I am doing Vern's Place on the 20th. Check me out for Wednesdays at 1949. And but I haven't really figured everything out for July because it's kind of a weird schedule with the family. As an extended family, barbecues, that kind of July shit.
Yeah, it's Independence Day
Exactly.
celebrations.
And you can actually look up my stuff on YouTube and the username. Is that what we say? Username?
I mean,
Yeah, just
Yeah.
YouTube.
YouTube.com/Raging Ego Productions, all one word, no hyphen or anything.
Raging Ego
Productions. So it's making fun of my directing style when I do my videos because I'm pretty intense. And so I'm like, well, we'll just make it stupid. Raging Ego.
Raging Ego. Okay, Elle, what's up with you? Anything?
I think we have July 10th, next Wednesday, right?
Oh, yes, that's right.
So,
July
go ahead,
10th.
tell us.
Okay,
Yeah.
next Wednesday, you guys, we have a special podcast coming to you. We are going remote for the first time at the Village Pub.
Yes.
Sweet.
So that's in Zionsville.
It is in Zionsville,
It is
and we
in
are
Zionsville.
going to get to pull the comedians off the stage.
That sounds fun.
It does. So we're going to get David Brooks. We've been trying to get him on. We're actually going to be able to interview him now. So I'm excited about that. What else do we have? I know there's a comedy roast coming up. I know for sure I'm on it.
Okay.
And I.
So the end of the month?
That's on what, the 12th?
Oh, so that's
July
like Friday.
It's Friday. It's at Vern's, right?
Right. It is at
So you
Vern's.
guys are doing the
And that is
roast.
going to be
It's at
freaking
Vern's.
epic. I'm telling you.
are you roasting?
I
I think she's on the list. I will
I have
be
no clue.
posting
I don't
a
think
video of who is versus who sometime
I
later
think it's
this
on
week.
the roast.
But it'll be
Yes.
at Burns. And what else? Do you have anything going on?
no. I just. I mean,
She's
might,
over there.
or-
And by the way, we totally killed it at Tolly's on Friday.
Yeah.
I'll be at Joker's this weekend.
There
And
you go.
down in, I don't know where I'm going to be at in Louisville, but I'll be in Louisville on the 27th. And
Fair
somewhere
enough.
in Bloomington sometime. I don't have we'll ask Kyle when he comes on next week.
okay. Well, we're doing Grant and
Bear's Place will be at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So Levi is the following.
Yes,
So
Levi Elmore and then Kristen,
Levi is
Kristen
the
Carnes,
17th or July
the 15th.
15th is Levi, and, then the
Kristen
week
Carnes
after
is the
that,
22nd.
22nd.
And then the Bear we'll do a remote Bear's Place in Bloomington on the 29th. I
right
think we
before
covered that.
their open mic on Mondays. Yeah.
Right, and we posted, if you didn't notice, on the page, we have the open mics, and I will update them.
and there's a new open mic on Thursdays. Is it there on the north side? That's what you said, right?
Well, right,
What?
but he's not. So Thaddeus started. No, somebody else with Thaddeus. They started at the 4-day raid.
The 4-day ring.
Yeah.
I think I've added that to the.
Yeah, no, you
can
did.
get Open mics
I don't think
on the
many
page.
people know about that, but
I
I
did
don't
not.
know how they
Yeah, it's
organize that.
Check the page. We try to keep the open mics.
I think
up
it's
to
an
date.
open mic. I didn't
Yeah.
see a sign up list because I didn't come in time for it. I just came because I live in Fisher. So yeah, there's an
Well,
open
thanks
mic.
for having me on.
Yeah,
Thank you
we're
so
gonna
much for
say
coming on board.
good night.
Thank you.
And we will see
Happy
you guys.
4th of July.
Yes,
Don't
please
forget,
say don't drink
everybody.
and drive.
Yep.
And we
And
will
don't
see you
light up
guys
fireworks in
next
your
Wednesday.
hands.
Well, we'll see you next. It's on the 10th.
Yeah, we'll see you next Monday.
Yep. Talk to you later. Peace out.
Bye. 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 Bye.